The silence inside the starship Erebus was almost painful. Only the dull hum of broken engines echoed through the cold metallic walls. 4 weeks, the crew had floated in the darkness between galaxies, hopeless, starving, and scared. The stars outside looked peaceful, but everyone knew the truth. They were lost. Captain Eric stood near the cracked window, watching the black void swallow the last flicker of their navigation beacon. His eyes were empty. The ship had no fuel, no communication signal, and their oxygen reserves were dropping fast. The once proud human exploration mission had become a drifting coffin. The crew had stopped talking days ago. Commander Vea sat quietly in the corner, whispering to herself. The engineer, Holt, had stopped repairing the ship. He knew it was useless now. And Dr. Lin just kept staring at the medical bay door, where 3 of their crew members were frozen in stasis, waiting for a rescue that would never come. They had come too far. Humanity's first mission beyond the Milky Way, meant to prove human courage, had turned into a story of despair. Then, on the 8th day of total silence, the lights flickered once. A faint, pulsing glow came from the navigation screen. "Impossible," Holt whispered, crawling toward the console. His voice was cracked and dry. "The system's dead. It can't be working." But there it was, a small signal. A repeating pattern, like a heartbeat. Not mechanical. Not random. It was alive. Captain Eric turned, his tired eyes widening for the first time in weeks. "Is that a distress signal?" "No," Holt said softly. "It's a response." The crew gathered around the console. The signal pulsed again, stronger this time. It came from the edge of an unknown system, far beyond their charted space. It carried one clear message written in human code. "You are not alone." Vea's voice trembled. "Who sent this? No human colony exists that far." Eric's jaw tightened. "Unless someone survived out there. Before us." Hope, a feeling they thought was dead, suddenly came alive again. They began to move. Holt started the backup generators, forcing the ship to awaken from its long sleep. The lights came back one by one, flickering weakly but alive. The ship groaned as if it didn't want to move, but Eric's command cut through the dark. "Set course toward the signal." "But, Captain," Dr. Lin said, stepping forward, "our oxygen will not last. If we fail to find it, then we die trying," Eric replied. "But we don't die here." The engines roared, weak, coughing, but burning again. The Erebus turned slowly toward the unknown light. Hours passed as they drifted closer. The signal grew stronger, faster, almost guiding them. But the stars around began to distort, bending in strange ways. Space itself seemed wrong, like something alive was watching them from the void. "Readings are strange," Holt muttered. "Gravity waves shifting. There's movement ahead." Vea leaned forward, squinting at the main screen. Out of the black mist appeared the outline of a giant structure. Broken, but still glowing faintly blue. It was a ship. No, bigger than a ship. A city. Floating in silence. Eric's heart pounded. "That's human design," he whispered. "Older, maybe first-generation tech. Could it be the Odyssey?" Vea finished. "The first colony ship that disappeared 100 years ago." The name sent chills down everyone's spine. The Odyssey was a legend, humanity's first attempt to reach another galaxy. It vanished without a trace, with thousands of people aboard. No one ever found it, until now. The Erebus moved closer. The massive ship was cracked open, like a dead beast in space. Its lights flickered weakly, as if some part of it still clung to life. Holt's scanners showed faint power signatures inside. "Something's still running in there," he said. "Something alive." Dr. Lin shook her head. "After 100 years? That's not possible." "Possible or not," Eric said, "we need answers." They docked with the ancient ship. The airlock opened with a long metallic scream. A rush of cold air filled the chamber, carrying the smell of rust and something old. Their flashlights cut through the darkness. The halls of the Odyssey were silent, filled with floating debris and the frozen remains of its old crew. But deeper inside, faint blue lights pulsed along the walls, like veins glowing under skin. Vea whispered, "This ship, it's still alive." As they stepped deeper, the walls began to move slightly, responding to their presence. A soft mechanical hum filled the air. Then, a voice, faint, broken, but human, echoed through the speakers. "Welcome back, survivors." The crew froze. The voice wasn't from their ship. It came from the Odyssey. Eric raised his weapon slowly. "Who's there?" The voice replied, calm and almost emotional. "We waited for a century. Humanity gave up on us. But we never stopped surviving." The sound of heavy footsteps echoed from the shadows ahead. The crew raised their lights toward the sound, and what they saw made every drop of blood freeze in their veins. It looked human, but it wasn't. Its eyes glowed faint blue, its skin pale like metal under skin. The thing smiled faintly. "Welcome home," it said again. And then the lights went out. The darkness pressed against the crew of the Erebus like a living thing. Every sound echoed too loudly, their breathing, the metal under their feet, even the soft hum of the Odyssey's systems. Captain Eric held his light steady, trying to see through the shadows. The pale figure with glowing blue eyes had vanished into the darkness, leaving only that chilling voice behind. Dr. Lin whispered, What is that?" "A human. A machine. Something else." Vea's hand trembled as she ran her fingers along the cold wall. "I don't know, but it's not dead. It's alive, somehow, and it knows we're here." Holt was already scanning the hall. "Life signs," he muttered, "but not normal. It's like the crew of this ship, adapted, survived, changed." The crew moved cautiously, stepping over broken panels and scattered tools. Every corner seemed darker than the last, every shadow waiting. Their hearts pounded with fear, yet something deeper pushed them forward, curiosity. The same curiosity that had brought humans into space, that had refused to let them die. As they turned a wide corner, the hall opened into a massive chamber. And there they saw it, dozens of figures, pale and glowing faintly blue, moving silently among broken consoles and floating debris. Their faces were human, but their eyes were not. One of the figures stepped forward, tall and thin, almost fragile, yet its presence filled the room. "You shouldn't be here," it said, voice soft, almost melodic. Eric raised his hands slowly. "We mean no harm. We are survivors, like you." The figure tilted its head. "Survivors, yes. But humans gave up on us. You are the first to come willingly." Vea asked, her voice shaking. "You survived all this time? Alone?" "We adapted," the figure said. "The Odyssey changed us. The systems we built for survival, they kept our minds and bodies alive. But the galaxy forgot us. Humanity forgot us." Holt's eyes widened. "You mean, this ship, it's alive?" The figure nodded. "Partly. The ship is our home, our body. It sustains us, feeds us, protects us. And now, it has waited for someone strong enough to continue." Eric exchanged a glance with his crew. Hope battled with fear. "You want us to join you?" he asked cautiously. The figure's smile was faint but haunting. "Not yet. First, you must understand what we are. What humanity can survive, even when the galaxy turns its back." Suddenly, the lights flickered violently. The chamber shook. The crew stumbled, and a low growl echoed from deep within the ship. Shadows moved faster than they should have. Dr. Lin grabbed Eric's arm. "What's happening?" The figure raised its hand. "They are curious, protective. The ship tests all who enter. You must prove you can survive. Only then will we welcome you." Eric swallowed hard. "Tests? What kind of tests?" The figure's eyes glowed brighter. "Survival is more than strength. It is mind, courage, and heart. Only those who refuse to die can live here. Vea whispered, we are humans. We never give up. That's why we came this far. The figure studied them for a long moment. Then it stepped back into the shadows. We will see, it said. Prepare yourselves. The first trial begins now. Before anyone could respond, the floor beneath them shifted. Panels moved, doors slammed shut, and the chamber transformed into a maze of glowing corridors. The air grew colder. The hum of the ship intensified into a rhythm that matched their heartbeats. Holt cursed under his breath. This ship, it's alive. It's playing with us. Eric clenched his fists. Then we fight. Humans don't give up. We survive. That's what we do. From the darkness, a whisper carried through the corridors. Humans, prove it. And as the crew moved forward into the maze, every shadow seemed to watch them. Every turn threatened danger. But deep inside, each of them knew one truth. No matter what the galaxy threw at them, humans refused to die. The first trial was waiting, and the Odyssey would test them in ways no human had ever imagined. The maze inside the Odyssey seemed endless. The walls glowed faintly blue, pulsing like veins, and every step the crew took echoed loudly, as if the ship itself was listening. Captain Eric led the way, his light cutting through the shadows. Stay close, he whispered. Don't let fear control you. Vea followed, gripping a makeshift baton, her eyes scanning every corner. Dr. Lin carried a small med kit, ready for anything. Holt, the engineer, scanned the walls and floor with a handheld device, trying to understand the ship's strange behavior. Suddenly, the floor beneath them vibrated. Panels shifted, and a narrow corridor opened where there had been a wall. The path seemed to stretch endlessly, and the hum of the ship grew louder, almost like a warning. Then a voice echoed, low and soft, but filled with authority. The first trial begins. Only those who think beyond themselves will survive. Eric paused. Think beyond ourselves. What does that mean? Holt muttered. This ship, it's testing us. Maybe our minds are more important than our bodies. The corridor twisted, and suddenly they were in a wide chamber. In the center, a large holographic map of the galaxy appeared. Stars shimmered, and red dots marked dangerous zones. One large dot pulsed, moving, alive. Look at this, Holt said, pointing at the map. It's a puzzle, some kind of strategy test. A shadow moved in the corner. The pale figure with glowing blue eyes appeared again. You must navigate the maze of survival. Every choice you make affects who lives and who dies. Vea stepped forward, voice shaking. How do we even start? The figure's eyes glowed brighter. Observe. Decide. Sacrifice if necessary. Humanity survives because it can make impossible choices. As they studied the map, the walls started to close in slowly, and the floor tilted. The air grew thinner. Panic threatened to take hold, but Eric forced calm. We've survived worse. We keep thinking, we keep moving. That's what humans do. The first obstacle appeared, a massive chamber filled with glowing energy beams. The beams moved randomly, cutting paths that seemed impossible to cross. One wrong step could mean death. Holt studied the beams. We have to move together, time it perfectly. One step at a time, never rushing. They began to cross, carefully watching the rhythm of the beams. Vea nearly got hit, but Eric grabbed her just in time. Dr. Lin fell to her knees, holding her medkit, whispering, "We can't die here. Not now." Midway through, the floor beneath them shifted again, separating them slightly. Eric yelled, "Keep your line of sight. Don't panic." One of the beams suddenly pulsed faster, coming dangerously close. Holt calculated the timing and shouted, "Jump now." They leaped in unison, barely avoiding the deadly energy. On the other side, the figure appeared once more, silently observing. "You may continue, but only because you trust each other." Breathing heavily, the crew huddled together. That Was close, Vea said. Too close. Eric nodded. It's a test of courage and teamwork. Humans survive because we rely on each other. We never give up alone, and we never give up together. The map on the wall shifted again, showing another path. This one led into darkness, deeper into the ship. The voice echoed again. The next trial will test your hearts. Will you protect humanity, or yourselves? Dr. Lin swallowed hard. It's going to get harder. We're being tested in every way possible. Eric clenched his fists. Then we adapt. That's what humans do. We fight when we're pushed to the edge. We survive when others give up. And we never, ever, die quietly. With that, the crew moved forward into the darkness, the blue glow of the Odyssey guiding them. Something ancient and alive waited ahead, a challenge they couldn't yet see. But one thing was certain, their courage would be tested, and the ship would demand the impossible. And somewhere deep inside the Odyssey, the first trial smiled, watching, waiting for the next move. The corridor stretched endlessly before the crew, darker than anything they had ever seen. The pale blue glow of the walls seemed to breathe, pulsing slowly like a heartbeat. Each step echoed unnaturally, bouncing off walls that seemed alive. Captain Eric led the group cautiously. Stay alert. This ship, it knows our fear. Vea shivered. I can feel it. Like it's watching every thought, every weakness. Dr. Lin adjusted her med kit nervously. It's testing our minds now. Not just our bodies. Holt scanned the walls again. Sensors are picking up projections. Hallucinations, maybe. Or the ship is reading our memories and showing them. As they moved deeper, the air grew heavier, and a strange fog began to fill the hall. Shapes appeared in the mist, faint images of loved ones, friends, crew members long gone. Voices called out, soft and pleading. Eric, why did you leave me? Vea, don't let them hurt you. Lin, it's too late. The crew froze, heartbeats pounding. It was impossible, yet the images and voices felt real. They could smell familiar scents, hear laughter from the past, even feel the warmth of hands that weren't there. Vea whispered, it's showing us what we've lost, what we fear losing. Eric clenched his fists. Don't believe it. None of it is real. The Odyssey wants us to give up. It wants us to fail. Dr. Lin tried to focus. It's testing our hearts, our attachment, our weaknesses. Suddenly, the fog thickened. The images became more intense, moving closer, reaching toward them. Holt stumbled backward. We have to fight this. Don't let it control your mind. Eric stepped forward. We are human. We survive. We face fear, not run from it. They closed their eyes and concentrated. Slowly, the images faded, voices dissolving into silence. The fog thinned, and the hall returned to its eerie blue glow. The crew was shaking, sweating, hearts racing, but still alive. A soft voice echoed through the walls, calm but commanding. You resisted. Few humans could do what you did. You chose reality over comfort, courage over surrender. Vea exhaled slowly. That was worse than any danger outside. It was inside our minds. Eric nodded. That's the point. The ship doesn't just test bodies. It tests spirit. Humans refuse to die not because we are strong, but because we never stop fighting, even when the world turns against us. Holt looked around, scanning the walls that now seemed quieter. The path ahead is open again, but whatever comes next will be harder. The crew moved forward carefully. The hall opened into a massive chamber, walls lined with strange alien technology. Screens flickered, showing possible futures, entire planets being destroyed, humans failing everywhere, stars dying one by one. Dr. Lin whispered, it's showing us the consequences of failure. What happens if humanity gives up? The pale figure appeared again, standing silently at the far end. Its eyes glowed brighter than ever. You passed the test of courage and heart. But now comes the test of sacrifice. Can you risk everything for the survival of others? Eric looked at his crew. We've come this far. We face every trial together. Humans refuse to die, and that includes protecting others, even if it costs us. Vea nodded. We've survived fear. Now we survive for each other. The figure's eyes softened. Then step forward. The next trial will reveal the truth of your humanity. As the crew advanced into the unknown chamber, the Odyssey pulsed around them, alive and aware, ready to challenge them like no human had ever been challenged before. The chamber smelled faintly of metal and ozone. Strange blue lights pulsed along the walls, forming patterns that shifted and moved like living veins. The crew of the Erebus stepped cautiously, every sense alert. The pale figure with glowing eyes watched silently from the far end. Its presence made the air feel heavier, almost as if it was pressing down on them. Then the voice came, calm but firm. The trial of sacrifice begins. Choose wisely, for your decisions will determine who survives, and who does not. Eric tightened his grip on his light. Sacrifice, for what? For the ship? For us? For humanity? The figure's eyes glowed brighter. For all of it. Survival requires more than courage. It requires choices no human wishes to make. Before them, panels shifted and a holographic display appeared, showing each crew member's vital signs, oxygen levels, and personal histories. Then a question flashed on the central screen. Who will continue, and who must be left behind? Vea's breath caught. What does that mean? Holt studied the display. It's forcing us to make a choice. One person stays behind. Or more. If we all go forward, maybe all die. The ship is alive. It can't let us pass otherwise. Dr. Lin shook her head. We can't just leave someone. We survive together. The figure stepped closer. Only those willing to sacrifice for the many, not the few, can proceed. Only those who put humanity above themselves will endure. The crew looked at each other. Their hearts pounded. They had survived physical danger, mental traps, fear itself, but this test cut deeper than any before. It demanded a choice no human should ever face. Eric swallowed. We have to think logically. We can't let emotions decide. Vea's voice shook. But it's impossible. Every one of us matters. Every life matters. Holt pointed at the display. It's showing possible outcomes. If we try to bring everyone forward, we might all die. If one stays behind, the rest can survive. Dr. Lin's hands trembled. We can't. I can't choose. The figure's voice echoed softly, almost like a whisper in their minds. Refusal is a choice too. But it is a choice of death. Eric stepped forward. Then we decide. Humans survive by putting the greater good first. That's why we don't die quietly. He looked at each member of his crew. Who is willing to stay? Who will sacrifice themselves for the rest? Vea's eyes widened. I will. I can't explain why, but I feel it's right. Humanity must survive. I'll stay behind if it saves you all. Eric shook his head. No. We survive together. There must be another way. The figure's glow pulsed. You think together, yet you hesitate. That is human, but the trial demands action. Suddenly, the chamber shifted violently. Panels rose and dropped, walls closing in, forcing the crew into separate platforms. One platform would descend safely to the next level. The others would be trapped forever inside the chamber. Eric took a deep breath. Trust me, he whispered. We move together, find a solution, and survive. Humans never die. Not if we fight smart. Holt scanned the platforms. If we coordinate the timing, we can use the ship's energy flow to lift all of us at once. It's risky, but it might work. They positioned themselves carefully. Blue energy streams flowed along the walls, and with precise timing, each step synchronized with the pulses. The chamber shook violently, as if the ship itself protested. Vea glanced at Eric. "If we fail, it's over." "Then we don't fail," he said firmly. "We refuse to die." They moved together, each step matching the ship's rhythm. Sparks flew from the energy panels, and the walls groaned with pressure. For a moment, it seemed impossible. Then, the platforms rose in unison, lifting them safely to the next level. The pale figure watched silently. "You survived the trial of sacrifice. Not through self-abandonment, but through unity, courage, and the will to protect others. Few humans would have succeeded as you did." Eric exhaled. "We survive together. That's what humans do." Vea smiled faintly, exhausted but alive. We really did it." Dr. Lin touched her chest. "The Odyssey isn't just testing strength. It's testing our humanity. And somehow, we passed." The figure's eyes glowed faintly blue, almost with approval. "The next trials will challenge your minds and bodies even further. But one thing is clear, humans refuse to die. That alone makes you remarkable." The crew stepped forward, leaving the chamber behind. Deeper into the living ship, challenges awaited, but they knew, no matter what came next, they would face it together. And humanity would not surrender. The corridors of the Odyssey stretched farther than the crew could see. Each step echoed, yet the air felt strangely alive, almost aware of their movements. The trials they had faced, fear, courage, sacrifice, had tested their minds and hearts, but the ship was not finished with them yet. Captain Eric led the group carefully, his eyes scanning every shadow. "Stay close. This trial, I can feel it. It's different. Heavier." Vea shivered. "It feels like the ship itself is thinking, watching our every move." Dr. Lin whispered, "It is. The Odyssey isn't just a ship. It's alive. And it has a purpose." Holt adjusted his scanner. "Sensors show energy readings like nothing I've ever seen. The ship, or whatever's inside it, is massive. The heart of it is up ahead." They entered a massive chamber, larger than anything they had imagined. The walls shimmered with flowing blue light. In the center floated a massive orb, glowing brighter than the rest of the ship. Patterns moved across its surface like circuits alive with thought. The orb pulsed rhythmically, like a heartbeat. The pale figure appeared once more, standing silently at the edge of the chamber. "You have survived trials of courage, heart, and sacrifice. But now, you face the final test. Will you embrace what humanity can become, or cling to what it once was?" Eric stepped forward, voice firm. "We have survived the impossible. Humans refuse to die. We will face whatever comes next." The orb pulsed, and suddenly visions filled the chamber. They saw planets burned, stars collapsing, civilizations lost. Then, another image appeared, humans, but different. Glowing blue eyes, their bodies adapted to survive the harshest conditions of space. They were humans, evolved by the Odyssey, living through the ship systems, surviving when humanity abandoned hope. Vea whispered. They survived all this time. They became something more than human." The figure nodded. "Yes. They are the ones left behind by humanity. They adapted. They survived. And now, they offer a choice." Dr. Lin asked. "A choice. Join them," the figure said, "and become part of the ship. Live beyond the limits of flesh, mind, and fear. Or return to the universe as you are, mortal, fragile, and temporary. Survival is guaranteed only for those who understand the cost." Eric looked at his crew. This is more than survival. This is evolution. But humanity isn't just about living forever. It's about courage, love, and choice. We refuse to die, but we also refuse to lose ourselves. Vea nodded. "We've survived every trial together. If we leave as we are, we carry that humanity forward." Holt added, "It's tempting, but we can't give up who we are. Surviving as something else, that's not human anymore. The figure's eyes glowed intensely. Then you have chosen wisely. You survive, as humans. Strong, courageous, united. The Odyssey will release you. But remember, few would have refused evolution. Few would have chosen humanity over immortality. The orb pulsed one final time. The ship trembled, walls shaking violently, then the energy softened. A pathway opened, glowing faintly blue, leading them back toward the Erebus. The crew stepped forward together, leaving the heart of the Odyssey behind. As they walked, the ship hummed quietly, almost like a farewell. Outside, stars stretched infinitely, cold and distant, but they were alive. Captain Eric looked at his crew. We survived. Not by giving up. Not by surrendering. Humanity refuses to die, and that's why we're still here. Vea smiled faintly. We've seen what it means to survive. And now we carry that with us, as humans, fully alive, fully ourselves. Dr. Lin added, we faced fear, darkness, sacrifice, and we won. Together. Holt nodded. The Odyssey was alive, but it taught us one thing. Humanity doesn't need to be immortal to survive. We just need to refuse to die. As they returned to the Erebus, the ship's systems hummed back to life, guiding them safely home. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, but humanity's spirit shone brighter than any galaxy. The trials were over, but their journey had changed them forever. Humans refused to die, and now they would continue to survive, explore, and face the unknown with courage, heart, and unity. The Erebus glided silently through space, the endless stars stretching before it like an ocean of light. The crew sat in quiet reflection, each of them still feeling the weight of the Odyssey's trials. They had faced fear, darkness, sacrifice, and temptation. And they had survived. Fully human, fully themselves. Captain Eric looked at his crew, his eyes soft but determined. We've survived the impossible. Not because of technology or luck or anything the universe threw at us, but because we refuse to die. Humanity doesn't give up. We endure. Vea leaned back in her seat, exhausted but smiling. I saw what humans could become, what we might lose if we gave up. But now I understand. Survival isn't just about being alive. It's about staying human. Dr. Lin adjusted her med kit, her hands shaking slightly. We faced death in every way, physical, mental, emotional. And yet, we kept going. That's human courage. That's our greatest strength. Holt grinned faintly. The Odyssey taught us that survival isn't easy. It tests you in ways you can't imagine. But if you never give up, if you protect each other, you keep living. That's humanity. The Erebus hummed softly, engines steady and warm after weeks of struggle. Outside, the universe stretched endlessly, full of unknown dangers, black holes, dying stars, and alien worlds untouched by human hands. But the crew no longer feared it. They had faced the impossible and survived. A soft voice echoed in the ship's speakers, not the pale figure this time, but a calm, almost human tone. Few species survive this far into the galaxy. Fewer still survive themselves. You are a testament to what humans can endure. Carry this knowledge. Carry hope. Carry life. Eric stood and gazed out the observation window, watching distant galaxies twinkle like beacons. We will, he said quietly. Humanity refuses to die. We survive because we fight, because we care, because we never give up, no matter what the universe throws at us. Vea joined him, placing a hand on his shoulder. And now, we return, to share what we learned, to inspire those who will come after us. Dr. Lin nodded. The Odyssey showed us the limits of fear, but also the strength of unity. No matter how dark the future seems, humanity will endure. Holt tapped the control panel. Course plotted for home. Let's go back, and remind humanity why we refuse to die. The stars streaked past as the Erebus accelerated. Each crew member sat quietly, reflecting on the journey, the trials, the fears, the sacrifices, and the triumphs. They were more than survivors, they were proof of humanity's enduring spirit. Captain Eric spoke once more, voice strong and unwavering. The universe may be vast. It may be cold, cruel, and full of dangers. But as long as humans refuse to die, hope will always survive. Humanity endures. Humanity prevails. The crew shared a final, quiet smile. The Erebus surged forward, carrying them home, carrying humanity's unbreakable spirit across the stars. And as the ship disappeared into the light of distant suns, one truth remained clear: humans never surrender. Humans never die. The legend of the Erebus and the trials of the Odyssey would live on, a story of courage, unity, and hope for every human who dared to reach for the stars. The end.